One big issue that Manchester United have had over the last few years is the goalkeeper situation. Have Manchester United found an answer to that in Senne Lammens? Well, it's probably too early to tell if Lammens will be good enough for United or not, but of the one game we've seen him play, he was very good. But Vitek, doing well in the Championship, Bristol City fans loving him, man of the match again, Lammens being very impressive, and the stories that we're reading on Lammens on his attitude since he's come to Man United training is very promising. We're going to talk about the latest on the loan deals, Collier, Vitek, Wheatley, give you updates on all the United stars out on loan in today's video. But we're also going to talk about Garnacho. He made some comments on United that have aged pretty badly, considering he was hooked at half time for Chelsea. Have United actually got a lucky escape with Garnacho? Because I always felt 40 million was a joke and we should have got 50 million. And youth star has been linked to Manchester United and Mason Greenwood. We're going to talk about Mason Greenwood and why it could benefit United, because he got 4 goals today. We're going to talk about the interest in Greenwood, how this benefits United, the sell-on clauses, and more. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football. Welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news, transfer news, and update roundup show, where we're going to round up all the latest Manchester United news in 10 minutes, and a lot of it is just to do with ex-players, players on loans, and more. Okay, let's start with the Senne Lammens story. Senne Lammens has asked to come into Carrington on his days off for extra sessions as he takes detailed notes after games and training. This is the kind of effort I love to see. We've been hearing so many stories about Lammens off the pitch, how he's been really impressive in training, how he's impressed Tom Heaton, how he's impressed loads of the players in training, and he rightly so got his first start. But we're hearing things about, he does extra work, he does technical work. It's not just his shot stopping. He wants to improve this, he wants to improve that. He's coming into Carrington on his days off to take notes after game and do extra training. I love that. Look, you need a different kind of mentality to be a Man United keeper. You can be the best keeper in the world, but at Man United, you need that mentality as well as the ability to be able to do it at Man United, because you make one mistake, you are the whole world is on you. You need the confidence in yourself. But I think the mentality to work really hard, keep coming to training, take notes, try and be the best you can be is good. And look, it was a good debut. He claimed crosses, which is great to see. And look, who knows if Lammens will be a success? It's too early to tell. What we do know is if he's not a success, he's on low wages. We didn't spend a lot of money on him, so he'll never be a flop. Whereas Nana, we spent 50 million on and we gave him high wages. With Lammens, we didn't spend that kind of money. And he's looking good and he's looking promising. And I just hope he continues to do well. And we're going to talk about Vitek later in today's video. But there's competition there. There's really good competition there. Vitek is insane. Chris Wheeler also mentioned that Manchester United, they're really impressed with how calmly Lammens is taking everything in his stride, how he settled in well, moved into a new house after several weeks in the city centre hotel. So lots of positive stuff about Lammens. Manchester United are liking how he's settled in. They're impressed with him. We know that the players and coaches are impressed with how he's done in training, how he's settled in. He seems to be ticking a lot of the green flag boxes, which is good to see. Now, let's talk about a player that was a red flag. Garnacho. Now, I always liked Garnacho as a player. I think that he's incredibly raw, but I think there's a very good and unique skill set there, and I do believe he's going to be a success at Chelsea. But right now, his comments are aging badly. He came out earlier and said, the game at Manchester United, if we play 11v11, I feel would be on top. He's saying if Chelsea didn't get a player sent off, they would have been potentially on top versus Man United. Obviously, he got sent off really early, but I actually thought that Man United started that game well. I think that Maresca's subs were bad, but look, he was saying it was 11v11, Chelsea be on top that game. We don't know, but Chelsea were particularly crap that game. Man United were up for it. I don't think it makes a huge difference if it was 11v11. I still think we would have won that game. But what's interesting is Garnacho played 11v11 today. Chelsea had 11 players today, and Garnacho was one of them hooked off at half time. He's been talking a lot lately. He rejected everyone for Chelsea. He had so many opportunities to go abroad where we would have made more money for him. Napoli, Bayern, leagues that suit him more, because I think his biggest weakness will be physicality. But he rejected everyone for Chelsea, which surprised me. And it's just not going well for him. He was hooked over half time. Chelsea fans are not happy. He's not been good for them. I do think Garnacho will be a success for Chelsea. I generally do. But his first few games have been bad. He's let his man go at the back post. He's had that awful shot. Look, Garnacho is always going to get 10 times more criticism than if they just signed a winger from the Bundesliga, because he's come from Man United and he wasn't the most liked, so Man United fans are going to be on him. But You know, Garnacho, I've always said, is raw, and I think there's a great player in there, but he has the ego thinking he's a great player now, and he's not quite that great player now, and that could let him down because he's not been great versus Chelsea, but he's inconsistent, and it's normal to be inconsistent at his age, but he was hooked off at half-time, and look, as a Man United fan, good to see. Good to see. But let's talk about one Manchester United player that's left the club, obviously for very different reasons to Garnacho, and is doing very well. Mason Greenwood with 4 goals for Marseille tonight. Now, he's predominantly been playing on the right wing, but he sometimes plays striker for Marseille. Everyone knows Mason Greenwood is a phenomenal player. It doesn't matter what your opinion is on Mason Greenwood in regards to the off-the-pitch stuff. We can all admit, very good player. Not welcome back at Manchester United for off-the-field issues. He was sold because of stuff that happened off the field, not because of his ability. You know, most players are sold because of their ability. Greenwood's one of those that was sold because of off-the-field issues. But him doing well at Marseille can benefit Manchester United. Greenwood sort of come back to Marseille, doing well, the good seasons he's having, could benefit Man United in a big way. Because Greenwood was good last season. He was all right at Getafe on loan, you know, but he was getting back into swing of things. He was good last season. I think this season has been Greenwood's comeback season. And this could be big for Manchester United. And the reason I'm talking about Greenwood is because I'm talking about financials, pure profit, the money that could be made. It was reported that Manchester United have a 50% sell-on clause on Greenwood's next transfer. However, that sell-on clause is actually flexible, meaning United have the ability to buy further sell-on percentages that could raise to 60%. Barcelona and PSG interested in him. There's talk of Greenwood being valued at 80 million, which potentially means 40 million pure profit, when we already made 30 million pure profit for him, which could end up being 70 million pure profit. Now, some people are saying, actually, we only get 50% of what Greenwood sold for over 25 million. So if it was 75 million, we'd only make 25 million because we got, you know, that's 50 million. Over 25 million, we get 50% of that. But that's still 25 million pure profit. So add it to what we sold them for, and that's 50 million pure profit. But PSG interested in Greenwood, Barcelona interested in Greenwood. There is a lot of interest in Mason Greenwood. And even last summer, there was Premier League teams looking at him according to credible sources. The Telegraph reported that Greenwood likes the idea of returning to England. Sources in France are confident at least 2 Premier League clubs may consider making a move for him. Now, this was said in the summer, nothing materialised, but if his good form continues, things could happen. Now, I'm not sure if Premier League clubs will go in for Greenwood because the media scandal is so public in England. I think he probably will have to play abroad. But I do think this is a big opportunity for United to cash in and make some pure profit money on Greenwood, which is big for us because we need all the money we can get. We're not in Europe. That can be invested into the midfield. That can be invested into the rebuild. Bish, bash, bosh. So I was talking about Senne Lammens, and I was talking about how, what he's showing at United is exciting, and I feels like we've got the right kind of keeper, the right kind of this and that. And one thing that annoyed me about Man United, and you can go back to my videos in the summer, is when we found out Anana was injured and was going to miss the tour, I said, why don't we take Vitek on tour? He looked really good. Why don't we give Vitek a go? And if we're not confident in Anana and why don't we give Vitek a go in? And I actually wanted Vitek to stay and actually get some minutes this season, but actually maybe it's good that he's gone on loan. Because when I say Vitek has been insane at Bristol City on loan, he's been phenomenal. Bristol City fans love him. They think he's insane. He's won their Player of the Month award. He's kept multiple clean sheets, 4 saves, clean sheets today. But even just before the international break, a couple of weeks ago, versus, he was on a run. This was September 29th. 7 matches, 7 goals conceded, 3 clean sheets, 27 shots faced, 21 shots saved, 75% save percentage, 0 errors leading to goal. I feel right now we had Romero and we had De Gea when he was good at a time. And that was great. And then since that, for 4 or 5 years, we've not had what we really need in a keeper. And maybe Vitek and Lammens are the future of this club, the future De Gea and Romero. The question is, Vitek, if he comes back to United, wants to have first team minutes like Dean Henderson. And it could be a situation when we sell Vitek for 10, 12 million to a Premier League club and he becomes one of the best goalers in the league. And we go, oh, why we sold Vitek? But like Dean Henderson, it'd be interesting to see what happens with Lammens. But I think Vitek is going to be playing in the Premier League next season. And I don't know if it'll be for United or not. Continuing on into other players on loan. Ethan Wheatley played 76 minutes today. He won a penalty, scored a goal. He made a dribble. He made 2 tackles. Very good game from him. Toby Collier. Throat's gone. Toby Collier played 55 minutes for West Brom today with 1 assist, 2 tackles, 2 chances created. A pretty solid performance for West Brom. He's struggling to get the minutes, Collier, because West Brom's 2 best players are the midfielders. It's probably the hardest position at West Brom to break into. But it's good to see he's starting to get a few minutes. And then finally, Simon Jones of the Mail said that United are looking at Coventry City 16-year-old talented midfielder George Shepherd. Now, he's a very highly rated 16-year-old midfielder in the Championship. I've not watched him play, but I know that he's highly rated. I've heard big things about him. So that could be interesting to watch the name George Shepherd and see how that advances nearer the summer. Thank you for watching today's 10-minute roundup. See you next time. Bye.